Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Broken clock on the back wall, counting down till the last bell rings. You lock the door with the plastic smile, say this is just our little secret thing. Ink stains on my test paper, your hand leaning where it shouldn't be. You twist the rules like a gold ring, say it's love, say it's meant to be. Leave the kids alone.
A man's been arrested in Lyon County after failing to register as a sex offender. The Lyon County Sheriff's Office says deputies contacted 61-year-old Richard Richards Monday in the Silver Springs area. While he's a registered sex offender in California, deputies say he'd been in our area for over 48 hours without registering in the state. And per Nevada law, Richards was arrested, charged with the felony.
A Cal Poly instructor charged with trying to contact a minor for sexual purposes has pleaded not guilty. 38-year-old Kevin Richard Columbe entered the plea Wednesday. Court records show he was ordered not to have any contact with minors unless an adult is present. Jail logs suggest he's been out of custody since not long after his arrest last month. Columbe is charged with communicating with a detective pretending to be a 14-year-old girl, knowing she was a minor with the intent to commit an offense. He's also charged with arranging to meet a minor for sexual purposes. Tonight, a local Cub Scout leader and San Luis Obispo County employee is behind bars. He was arrested at his Oceano home accused of possessing child sexual abuse material. We begin tonight with what we're learning about the arrest.
A Cub Scouts leader from Oceano is under arrest, accused of possessing what sheriff's officials describe as child sexual abuse materials. I'm your Oceano community reporter, Michaela Richardson, taking a deeper look into the charges he's facing. 46-year-old Michael Schmidt was taken into custody Thursday morning at his Oceano home. The San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office states it received a report about suspected child sexual abuse material on February 17th and worked with the Fresno County Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force to carry out the arrest. According to the Sheriff's Office, Schmidt works in the IT department for the San Luis Obispo County Health Department. A representative from County Health told me in a statement they are, quote, aware of the arrest and cooperating fully with law enforcement. The Sheriff's Office said Schmidt is a Cub Scout leader in the 5 Cities area. Cub Scout leaders work with children roughly between ages 5 to 10. According to Scouting America's website, leaders are never allowed to be alone with a Cub Scout, and there must be at least 2 adults present at all times. Representatives from Scouting America told me they were unable to comment on the incident involving Schmidt, and when calling a local PAC, I was told they could not confirm or deny Schmidt's involvement. I also reached out to the Sheriff's Office for additional information, but was told no one was available Friday to speak with me. Schmidt is in custody at the San Luis Obispo County Jail and is currently being held without bail. I'll continue to update you on this story as more details are released.
A man is sentenced for more than 13 years on 2 federal cases. Thanks for joining us tonight. Mari is on assignment. Let's get to our top story at 6. Brannick Dixon was sentenced to 151 months for 1 count of enticement of a minor. He was sentenced to 108 months for 1 count of possession with intent to distribute fentanyl. These will run consecutively. Documents show he lied about his age to a 15-year-old and sexually assaulted them several times in 2023. His drug case happened in 2024.
Now at 6, a new state law signed today by Governor Tony Evers makes sexual grooming of a child a crime.
Do you think this will make a difference?
Yes. I think it'll make a very significant difference. I think that predators will maybe be a little more cautious. I think there's going to be a lot more protection instilled for kids and even people accused.
Our Ben Jordan spoke with Ashlyn, a parent who pushed for the change, about the impact moving forward.
Parents and advocates who push for grooming to become a felony-level crime in Wisconsin are celebrating this new law. They believe it will make students safer and hold bad actors accountable.
I'm just really grateful for everybody, the people in the streets who were protesting in Kenosha.
Ashley Whitting joined these protests last year because a family she knows was victimized by former Kenosha Unified School District substitute teacher Christian Enright. He sent inappropriate Snapchat messages to a middle school student.
What troubled you about the allegations in that case?
Nothing was being done. Nothing at the legal level, nothing at the school level, nothing at the school district level.
Enright was convicted on several disorderly conduct charges, the lowest level criminal offense in Wisconsin. The case motivated an Illinois mother to get involved.
My son back in 2010 was being groomed by a male teacher here at Morris High School in Morris, Illinois. He was 15 at the time, teacher was 34.
Michelle Peterson says that teacher who groomed her son was the first in the country convicted of felony grooming. She spent years advocating for the same consequence in other states like Wisconsin. With Governor Evers' signature today, grooming is now defined as an adult intending to condition, seduce, solicit, lure, or entice a child for sexual intercourse or pornography. A grooming conviction comes with 10 to 25 years in prison.
I like that it's a felony charge right out of the gate for a first offense. I think that's huge. You need to be able to try to deter these pedophiles and these predators from doing this to these kids.
In a statement, Department of Public Instruction Superintendent Jill Underly says, clear statutory language strengthens awareness, improves training, and helps ensure warning signs are recognized and addressed early.
I think it's going to do a lot of great for a lot of people in the future.
Another bill signed into law Friday requires school districts to set policies on how school staff should appropriately communicate with students. Those policies have to be in effect by the beginning of next school year. Reporting in Kenosha, Ben Jordan, TMJ4.
All new tonight, a Madison County man is behind bars on 10 counts of child pornography possession. Deputies or detectives teamed up with multiple agencies and conducted a search warrant at 43-year-old Jason Wilson's home in Huntsville. He was taken into custody, and he's now sitting in the Madison County Jail on a $100,000 bond.
A Crime Stoppers tip leads to the arrest of a child sex offender after a shootout with deputies. A missing 13-year-old girl returns home safely, and 2 unsolved cases in Clayton, Alabama. This is Crime Stoppers Weekly. An accused child sexual predator was arrested in Autauga County after a shootout with sheriff's deputies. 28-year-old Taylor Cox was wanted in Huntsville on 2 counts of possession of child pornography. Reports said that Cox had fled to Selma. After being featured on Crime Stoppers 215 stop, he was arrested within 24 hours, but not after a shootout with Autauga County deputies. Police say Cox was found with multiple images and videos depicting children in sexual acts. Cox now faces 2 additional charges of attempted murder of a law enforcement officer. According to sources, 13-year-old Claudinasia Foster has returned home safely. Foster was reported missing earlier this week.
56-year-old Kevin Etherington could spend the rest of his life in jail for possessing child pornography. On Thursday, the former Payne and Logan County Assistant District Attorney was found guilty of 1 count of aggravated possession of child pornography and 1 count of possession of child pornography. The jury calling for 20 years behind bars and $20,000 in fines. Back in 2022, OSBI says the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children passed on tips regarding child sexual abuse materials. According to the affidavit, hundreds of pictures and videos of exploited children were found on a Google Drive account connected to Etherington. They were able to locate other information of his, like pictures and a tax return. He was arrested back in November 2022 at his apartment in Stillwater. The district attorney's office confirms he hasn't been to the office since he was terminated the day of his arrest. He also previously served as an assistant DA for Oklahoma County. The Tulsa County DA's office was appointed to handle the prosecution. The DA saying in a statement that Etherington deserves to serve every day of the 20 years he received.
A man from Feeding Hills has been arrested following an investigation into child sexual abuse material. 44-year-old Nicholas Clark was arrested at his house yesterday morning without incident. Investigators say they had opened an investigation on Clark back in January, but they got a search warrant for his residence yesterday. Clark is being arraigned in Westfield District Court today.
A South Florida family, they are outraged after NBC6 informed them that the man who kidnapped their 6-year-old was given a short prison sentence as part of a plea deal.
And the kidnapping happened near the 1300 block of Northwest 79th Street in Miami, but the child was found more than a mile away.
Okay, let's get to NBC6's Christian Colon, who has exclusive story and how the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office is responding.
Surveillance video captured Jose Martinez approaching 6-year-old Jake Rivera. Police say Martinez started playing soccer with the child and even offered to buy him a toy, all to befriend him before taking him away.
This came over me and said, do you want to come with me? And I said, sure.
It's been nearly 2 years since the traumatic incident that forever changed Rivera's life. Luckily, he was found safe more than a mile away. Martinez has been in jail since the incident.
The fact that he only gets 3 years for abducting a child and leaving us worried doesn't sit right with me.
Today, NBC6 captured the moment Martinez accepted a plea deal offered to him by the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office. 3 years in prison, followed by 10 years of probation.
I would like to plead guilty to 1 count of kidnapping and 1 count of interference with custody of a child.
Alfredo Velasquez, who helps take care of his little cousin, says he learned about the deal through NBC6. He says prosecutors never gave them a heads up and that they would have pushed for more prison time.
He should just be in state prison for all his life because these are children.
Velasquez says his family has no choice but to move on, but tells us his little cousin will never be emotionally the same.
I don't feel safe anymore that he's gonna just get 3 years and maybe come out in the same street here and do the same thing.
In response, the state attorney's office tells NBC6 the plea was consulted with the family and that there was no indication of any issues. Prosecutors also say the deal was offered because in front of a jury it would have been difficult to prove the defendant's intent since he did not exhibit any sexual interest in children or any psychosexual disorders. In Miami, Christian Colon, NBC6 News.
Will spend more than 9 years in federal prison after Border Patrol agents caught him with child sexual abuse material hidden across 10 USB drives, 2 cell phones, and a laptop. A 40-year-old Raul Velasco Leon was stopped at Bridge 2 last year after agents spotted a piece of child-sized clothing tucked in his pocket. A search of his devices uncovered dozens of abuse files, including a video of Velasco Leon himself. Behind prison time, he must register as a sex offender and will face strict limits on internet access and contact with children once he's released.
We start tonight covering the courts. The man accused of sexually assaulting numerous children in Eau Claire and Barron counties was given a lengthy sentence today. 83-year-old Robert Karstensen was charged last year in Eau Claire County after 5 victims came forward. The victims were between the ages of 3 and 10 years old when the assaults happened. After he was charged here, another victim came forward and said Karstensen assaulted her at a campground in Barron County in the 1990s. The case has been dismissed but was read today, allowing the judge to consider charges at the sentencing. This is video from a past court appearance. Today in court, Karstensen was sentenced to 40 years of initial confinement, followed by 20 years of extended supervision. The sentence was longer than the state and the defense were asking for. Given his age, Karstensen will spend the rest of his life in prison.
A former Colorado State public defender is set to be sentenced in nearly 3 months after being found guilty of sexual assault on a child. That's according to the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office in the Springs. They announced the verdict for Thomas Cushing today. We first told you about this case in November 2024. According to the DA's office, police got a warrant for Cushing's arrest after the victim's father received information about the crime. Police say Cushing later turned himself in. His sentencing is set for May 28th.
It's 04:30 in the morning, and as a member of the SWAT team, I'm going to be assisting our Internet Crimes Against Children with taking a suspect into custody that's been uploading some kiddie porn. So he's a bad dude. Our ICAC, our Internet Crimes Against Children detectives, have put forth a case. They put it together. They've got a warrant issued for this guy. Right now, we're waiting for this suspect to go mobile. We have our surveillance units are on the house, and they're waiting for him to take off. And once he does, then I'll do the traffic stop. So that's what we're doing now. Oh man, that would have been a sub 16. Yeah, with Arizona. Yeah, with Arizona. Mary. Frank.
PCSO. CDAP.
Hey, there you are. Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much.
Oh.
You know about the stop sign? My shifter got stuck in gear and I couldn't pop it out.
I know, man. I saw you almost caught that wreck, and I was like, man, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure you were all right.
It's literally this. It keeps getting stuck in 5th gear.
Okay.
Like, every time I try to pop it out, it gets stuck and won't fall out, so I have to take it to my shop this morning.
Oh, man. Hey, you have your driver's license on you just so I can document that we had this conversation. Any weapons in here, any?
No, never. I ain't got no weapons ever on me.
I appreciate that. You got Bill crack your windshield.
I got several. I already told
Farm
my
truck,
boss.
man. Farm truck. Hey, do me a favor, so that I don't have to walk all the way back up here. To hop on out. Let me come take care of this for you. You can leave.
If I bring my
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can bring that. Absolutely. We'll give you some light here. All right, man. So, hey, I appreciate you getting that. See all this stuff that's here?
I know. Trust me, it keeps falling out every day.
All right, man. Hey, do me a favor. Put your hands behind your back right now. So right now you're going to be detained. I'm going to double. Yeah. So.
We'll explain everything.
Yeah, we'll explain all. So you got some detectives that are going to want to come, and I put 2 cuffs on you because you're a little bit broad in the shoulders. And I didn't want you to. Tom 16, I had 1 detained. So, detectives are going to come have a chat with you. They're right there.
2007.
Phone is in the center console. It was off when I made contact with him. He never touched it. So it's there. I left it in there. So it's in the truck. And we're going to walk you over to detective over here. It's going to talk to you. I'm going to bring this stuff with you so you don't lose it. And then, come on, let's walk this way. This is detective. He's going to be...
You going to be cool? I'm chill. I ain't
We're going to walk down here into the grass. Like I said, I appreciate you being cool with us. I always like having a respectful conversation with people, so...
I honestly just need to know what's going on.
Nope, that's their deal. So...
I don't really know what I did wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Everyone else inside?
Yep.
Hey, grab my cigarettes.
I will not. All right, so we just got here from the traffic stop. We're at the house where that truck left from. The rest of the team is inside securing the house, making sure that the house is safe so we could turn it over to detectives for further evidence that's going to be held within the electronics within the residence. So they're inside making sure that's done, then they'll turn it over to detectives, and we'll be clear. This search warrant's coming to an end. It was served in conjunction with our federal partners at HSI, local partners from both Maricopa County and all throughout Pinal County, including our Internet Crimes Against Children detectives. Child sexual abuse material was located on the subject's devices, and our detectives are going to be submitting charges to the county attorney for prosecution. Thank you so much for Sheriff Teeple allowing the Pinal County Sheriff's Office to aggressively and actively hunt people that are making, sharing, and viewing these terrible images. And just know that we're out there keeping kids safe.
In the Commonwealth versus Richard Cox case, the judge has allowed Cox, who's a registered sex offender, to be able to question witnesses on the stand. Cox argued the Commonwealth saying witnesses will experience serious emotional distress from being questioned by someone they saw passively naked after a shower is absurd. Cox argued being barred from cross-examination because an adult saw another adult naked in the locker room is a slippery slope. Cox, who's a biological male, identifies as transgender and was allowed to enter these locker rooms because Arlington County allows people to use the restroom of their gender identity over their biological sex. Now, Cox did agree to submit written questions for the two minor witnesses, a 16 and 17-year-old lifeguard from Wakefield High School. The school has a pool open to public use for swim classes outside of school hours. Adult witnesses include a mother who had a child under the age of 12 with her and allegedly saw Cox masturbating in the shower. But the judge gave Cox a warning, saying this trial is not an opportunity to get on a soapbox and turn questioning into testimony because you have a political axe to grind. The judge reminded Cox that in the previous trial, some of the things Cox wanted to say to the jury were so prejudicial it could have amounted to a confession. Cox wrote to a judge back in 1993 while in jail that he received sexual gratification exposing himself and being naked in front of young girls. Cox asked for a closed hearing, saying the Commonwealth was using these letters to defame and create prejudice. These letters were banned in the previous trial. However, this time, the judge says they will be admitted into evidence with redactions. The judge said the Commonwealth will still have to prove Cox's intent. The trial will begin on April 20th. From Arlington, Virginia, I'm Amy Delora for Washington Examiner.
A man in Gainesville could spend the rest of his life in prison for child porn charges. Prosecutors say 39-year-old Robert Johnson III was indicted for 6 counts of producing child porn. If convicted, he could face up to 30 years for each charge. Johnson was booked in the Alachua County Jail last September. A jury trial is set for April 8th.
Well, a Gainesville man was arrested for sexually abusing a 15-year-old. Gainesville police say 19-year-old Kyler Bryant drove the teen to his apartment around 2 a.m. yesterday. Officers say she called the police. When she returned home later that day, he admitted to sexually abusing her. Bryant is facing charges of lewd and lascivious battery on someone under.
Tonight, a now former Virginia Beach firefighter is behind bars, accused of possessing child pornography. Brianna Fallon joins us with the details. Bree.
Dana, Virginia Beach police arrested former captain with the Virginia Beach Fire Department, Zachary Teal, on Wednesday. Now he's facing multiple felonies for child exploitation.
Zachary Teal was a Virginia Beach firefighter for 10 years, working his way up to the captain title in 2023. But tonight, he's sleeping behind bars, accused of 30 felonies for child exploitation. Teal's charges include a number of different child sex abuse accusations, including several counts of producing child pornography. To protect the victims in this case, we will not go far into details, but court documents state Teal allegedly exploited multiple children under the age of 15. We did reach out to Teal for comment, but he declined. Just a few hours ago, a city spokesperson stated that Teal is no longer employed with the Virginia Beach Fire Department. However, they could not confirm if his departure was a result of the pending charges. They say it's a, quote, personnel matter.
Court documents also reveal this was not Teal's first encounter with law enforcement. In January, he was charged with a misdemeanor for assault, and an emergency protective order was filed for the alleged victim. Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Brianna. And a bond hearing is scheduled for March 10th.
Well, the embattled former co-owner of Sycamore Brewing is officially charged with multiple child sex crimes. A grand jury today handing down an indictment against Justin Brigham for statutory rape, indecent liberties with a child, and burglary. The accusations stemming from an alleged incident in Stanley County last December. Investigators say Brigham broke into a 13-year-old girl's home to engage in sexual acts with the child. He has remained in jail on an $11 million bond. Brigham's arraignment is scheduled for the end of this month.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.
She was her city's first female mayor. Now she's been found guilty of having sex with a minor. Her own children telling authorities they saw their mom being inappropriate with a 16-year-old at a pool party. Here's Ann Mercogliano.
She's the glamorous mayor just convicted of having sex with her son's 16-year-old best friend at an alcohol-fueled pool party. Mayor Misty Roberts was accused of plying teens with alcohol while wearing only a bikini. KPLC TV reporter Devin Cruz covered every day of the sensational trial.
The mayor was seen in a bikini giving alcohol to minors.
She was seen in a bikini, and several witnesses testified that Miss Roberts or Misty Roberts had gotten the alcohol for the kids and had stocked a fridge. They were by the pool and they began kissing.
Then they went inside the mayor's home. Her own 16-year-old son told investigators that he saw his mother having sex with his friend through the window and that kids at the party had video. Court testimony revealed the mayor's younger daughter was crying at the party and asking people to go and make the victim and the defendant stop. The next day, the victim's mom learned about the sexual encounter and feared a possible pregnancy, texting the mayor, "Out of respect for both our families, can you assure me that you can't be pregnant?" "Yes," responded the mayor, stating that she was on birth control. There was also testimony from a DoorDash delivery driver who said that he received an order from the mayor for the morning after abortion pill to be delivered to her doorstep after the party. Jurors began to deliberate last night, and it took them less than an hour to deliver the verdict. The unanimous verdict: guilty of carnal knowledge of a juvenile and indecent behavior with a juvenile.
She did become very emotional and she began crying.
Before the mayor's arrest, she had promised to always lead the city of DeRidder with her heart.
I might not look like or feel like or speak like every other mayor in America, but I am a mayor that will always be who I am, and I will lead the city with my heart.
The mayor resigned from office just days before her arrest.
Misty Roberts' lawyer says she's very disappointed with the verdict. Her sentencing is scheduled for April 17th.
In a TV 20 News update this afternoon, a former Bradford County middle school teacher will spend the next year in a Florida State prison for inappropriate behavior with a student. 27-year-old Matthew Watson was sentenced to 1 year and 1 week on charges of transmitting harmful material to a minor, as well as soliciting lewd conduct with a student. Watson will also be a registered sex offender for life.
And new this morning, a Mount Sterling man has been indicted on child pornography charges in Montgomery County. According to the state attorney general's office, a grand jury indicted 38-year-old Justin Eller this week on 12 felony charges for allegedly sharing sexually abusive images and video of young children. Investigators say most of the videos involve children between the ages of 12 and 18, but at least one included a child younger than 12. According to officials, the sheriff's office arrested Eller during a traffic stop after an investigation that started in December from a tip to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. According to court records, Eller is scheduled for an arraignment on March 27th.
Okay, you guys might want to kill me for this one, but I couldn't help it. It's the first thing I thought of right here. Hey, if the shoe fits.
Good evening, I'm Heidi Paxson Garcia.
And I'm Kim Leadholm. Thank you for joining us at 5. An Eau Claire man will likely spend the rest of his life in prison.
83-year-old Robert Karstensen was sentenced today in a 2025 child sexual assault case. Karstensen is sentenced to 40 years in prison, followed by 20 years of extended supervision and lifetime supervision as a serious sex offender. He was originally charged with 11 counts of child sex crimes, but pled guilty to 5 counts as part of a plea deal.
His neighbor, James Barbie, is also facing similar child sex crime charges. According to the criminal complaint, both men lived directly across the street from a school playground.
A man is behind bars accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl walking home from school. It happened earlier this week in Bay Terraces in an area near 2 schools. ABC 10 News reporter Ryan Hill was talking with parents in the neighborhood today. He tells us what police say led to the man's arrest.
I'm here on Dust Drive, which isn't too far from the Paradise Hills Rec Center. It's on this section of road of where San Diego police are saying on Friday that earlier this week, a 12-year-old girl who was walking home from school was allegedly kidnapped and sexually assaulted by a man who pressured her to get inside of his car.
It really scares the hell out of me.
It makes me really uncomfortable, just the thought of that.
Thoughts of concern and fear from some parents in the Bay Terraces area on Friday. This after San Diego police are saying a 35-year-old man, Delino Borman, has been arrested and booked for allegedly kidnapping and sexual acts with a 12-year-old girl who was walking home from school earlier this week.
I have a daughter, and the last thing that you will think that's getting bad happen is at school. I come to this school every day picking up my daughter, thinking that, there will be no issues coming over here, and that's really scary.
San Diego PD says on Tuesday the girl was walking home from school when Mormon allegedly drove up to her and coerced her inside the car. Police say after she got into his car, he's accused of driving the 12-year-old around the area for several hours and touched her inappropriately before dropping her off near her home. Police say the incident happened on this section of Dusk Drive, which is in between 2 schools. San Diego Unified wasn't able to tell me which school the 12-year-old girl attends, but tells me the student is enrolled in the district. Police say they arrested Mormon the following morning with help from automated license plate readers.
Catching that guy right away is really a good thing, making sure that our kids are always safe.
ABC 10 News is finding out more about Mormon and his previous encounters with law enforcement. He's currently listed on the Megan's Law website for 2 prior sexual assault convictions in 2012. San Diego Unified tells me district police are working with San Diego PD to ensure there's a safety plan in place for the student. Following this incident, San Diego police are reminding parents to tell their children to be mindful of their surroundings, know where they're going, and who they're talking to.
I think it's definitely important to have those conversations and for them to never jump into a stranger car or approach them like that. It's just really crazy what happened.
Ryan Hill, ABC 10 News.
An Orange County man is now in custody charged with child sex crimes. Authorities say George Rogers was arrested after he was indicted for continuous sexual abuse of a child and sexual assault yesterday. He faces 25 years to life in prison. We'll bring you more information as the trial moves forward.
And it is 25 years in prison for the latest Lubbock man who thought possessing child pornography was okay. Lubbock investigators first got a cyber tip in 2023 about 50-year-old Jody Jeffcoat, and he eventually admitted to taking dozens of these lewd photos and videos and then uploading them to the internet.
All right, mate, this time you're under arrest, right? For Say what, mate? Oxford taser on the floor!
Shannon O'Connor, who has become known as the Los Gatos party mom, convicted today for hosting parties with alcohol and sex for minors. Thank you for joining us here on KRON 4 News this afternoon. I'm Justine Waldman. We have our Gail Ong in San Jose now. She has the latest on this case. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Justine. Well, this was a 4-month-long trial, and after 6 days of deliberations, the jury returned this morning with a guilty verdict for Shannon O'Connor. Juries found Ms. O'Connor guilty on more than 60 counts that include child endangerment, molestation, witness dissuasion, and facilitating sexual assault between minors from the years 2020 and 2021. Prosecutors say O'Connor hosted secret parties at her Los Gatos home, providing alcohol to underage teens and pressuring intoxicated minors into sexual acts. Many of the teens were Los Gatos high school freshmen and friends of her son. Jurors were shown cell phone and surveillance video from inside the parties showing intoxicated teenagers dancing, vomiting, and passing out. The DA's office says O'Connor was convicted of crimes against more than a dozen child victims. Here's what her defense attorney had to say, followed by DA Jeff Rosen.
She said some things to me as the verdicts were progressing that made me understand that she was deeply disappointed in the decision.
It's important to recognize the victims who testified and their families, their parents who supported them during this very difficult ordeal. This case does not happen if the children do not come forward and stop what this defendant was doing.
And O'Connor is facing decades of prison time. Her sentencing is expected later this afternoon. Once we get details from that, we will bring that back to you at the station. Reporting live here in San Jose, Gail Ong, KRON 4 News.
Gail, thank you.
The FBI field office in Anchorage has had a busy week, transporting Zobadul Amin, a Bangladeshi national from Malaysia, here to Anchorage so that he can be brought up on 13 felony charges involving child sex abuse, after he allegedly extorted hundreds of victims. Here's Amin being extradited from Malaysia, where he was attending medical school. This was on March 3rd. Then Amin landed in Anchorage on Wednesday evening and appeared in court Thursday. In the courtroom, Amin pleaded not guilty to all counts, which include production and distribution of child pornography, cyberstalking, aggravated identity theft, wire fraud, and child exploitation enterprise. Here's a look at 2 of the Snapchat avatars that Amin was allegedly using to deceive victims, convincing them he was a minor and a totally different person altogether. The court documents also included this image of a calendar, the strict schedule Amin sent to victims, forcing them to provide child sex abuse materials on certain days. Amin was contacting victims as far back as at least 2021, according to the court documents, when a minor in Alaska reported him to authorities. U.S. attorneys say it was the first domino that eventually caused Amin's enterprise to fall. After that, the FBI began working with Malaysian police in 2022, and he was indicted by a grand jury in the U.S. later that year. The investigation and arrest were a multi-year effort coordinated by the FBI's field office in Anchorage, as well as 30 other local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies and Malaysian authorities. Sextortion cases like this have unfortunately become too common, including here in Alaska. Not too long ago, we talked to Alaska U.S. Attorney Michael Heyman about the danger of these individuals.
The offenders are actually very good at what they do. A lot of sex offenders, they do this as a career. This is their 24/7 job. And so they're very wily, they're very skilled at talking to children.
Now, I've spent today reading through the court documents, which contain much disturbing material not suitable for TV. Though through it all, the most disturbing was a message that prosecutors said Amin sent to one of his victims, in which he said, quote, "Honestly, I know what I am doing is wrong, but I don't know. I just still do it." Amin.
Jeff
Jackson County, a former JROTC instructor at St. Martin High School is arrested, accused of grooming a child. Investigators say Lawrence Dizon Jr. exchanged more than 1,200 text messages with a student. The sheriff's office says that school administrators first reported the allegations in February. Dizon was terminated from his position. He is now being held on a $35,000 bond as the case moves to a grand jury.
New tonight, and a quick warning, the details of this are disturbing. 2 Springfield parents have been arrested by federal and state agencies in connection with the rape of their 2-year-old and the reckless endangerment of their 2 sons. 25-year-old William Muniz was arrested yesterday morning on Main Street in Holyoke, and 28-year-old Aditza Miro Navarro on Girard Avenue in Springfield. The Special Victims Unit says the case centers on the rape of their 2-year-old daughter and reckless endangerment of their 2 sons, all 3 children between 2 and 8 years old. Detectives began investigating Muniz in early February for child abuse and later learned of alleged sexual abuse. They say Miro Navarro knew about the abuse for a month, never reported it, and destroyed cell phone evidence. Muniz faces multiple charges, including rape of a child with a 10-year age difference, and Miro Navarro faces other charges.
A man who prosecutors say pled guilty in an investigation involving child exploitation now knows his sentence. According to the 10th Judicial District Attorney's Office, 21-year-old Phoenix Monsivus Likes will serve 8 years in prison. Prosecutors say he pled guilty to sexual exploitation of a child and attempted sexual exploitation of a child back in August.
A months-long investigation in Penn Yan has led to serious sex crime charges against an 18-year-old, and police say there may be more victims out there. Brian Mayhew is accused of having sexual contact with 3 underage girls and exchanging inappropriate photos with multiple minors. One case happened on school grounds. Mayhew, now banned from district property, was arraigned and released. Anyone with information is urged to contact Penn Yan Police.
Get the Rochester First streaming app today for everything you love from News 8 on demand, plus exclusive shows you won't see anywhere else. Search ROC and download for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.
An Oviedo man has been arrested for possession of child sexual abuse material, marking at least the second major brush with the law he's had.
36-year-old Marshall Drake was arrested this week. Wester's Haley Crumblehome is live at the police department tonight. Haley, he's also facing weapons charges because of his previous conviction. Means he shouldn't have any at all.
That's right. So that most recent arrest this week was here in Oviedo. But back in 2013, this man was sentenced to more than a decade in a military prison after he was convicted of shooting and killing a fellow soldier on a base in Alaska on Christmas Day. In November of 2025, a messenger app submitted a cyber tip to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, saying a file with suspected child pornography was shared through their service. According to this arrest report, the file was a video showing 2 girls believed to be between the ages of 11 and 13. The IP address pointed law enforcement to the Oviedo area, and in January, a subpoena to AT&T returned an address and a name, Marshall Drake. Oviedo police executed a search warrant at his home on March 5th, and police interviewed Drake. The arrest report says Drake lived there with his wife and her 14-year-old daughter, and says he had numerous chats in Kik in which he talks about raping the daughter. The report says Drake provided a full confession to transmitting and possessing child sexual abuse material, but that wasn't all he was charged with. Back in 2013, Drake, who was an Army specialist, was sentenced to more than a decade in a military prison for shooting and killing another soldier while on a base in Alaska. An appeal in the U.S. Army Court of Criminal Appeals says Drake and other soldiers were drinking on Christmas Day, and while engaged in horseplay, Drake shot another soldier in the head, killing him instantly. Now, Drake is facing a charge of possession of a weapon or ammo by a convicted felon after the report says guns were found in his home and brass knuckles on his truck dash on Thursday. Now, the officer that filed that arrest report requested conditions if Drake were to be released from jail, preventing him from being around minor children and preventing him from returning to his home in Oviedo, where his wife's 14-year-old daughter lives. Covering Seminole County live in Oviedo, Haley Crumblehome, WESH 2 News.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for 18 News at 5. I'm Jim Turpin. It now seems that nearly every day we're telling you about a local man arrested on child pornography charges. And here we go again. This time it's the arrest of a Mansfield man. 19-year-old Wesley English of Mansfield now faces several child porn-related charges. He's charged with 5 felony counts of sexual abuse of children. He's charged with 1 count of sending child abuse material to someone, and that's also a felony. And he's charged with the felony crime of using a communications device to send child porn. English posted a $20,000 bond, and he was released. He's due back in court on March 17th.
In tonight's crime report, Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrell's office arrested 2 men accused of juvenile sex crimes. Murrell's office says David Dufresne from Raceland and Brandon Brown from Covington are both in custody, and both men are 36 years old, and they're booked with indecent behavior with a juvenile and computer-aided solicitation of a minor. Brown has an additional charge of grooming a child. The AG's office says both investigations are ongoing.
Indonesia will ban social media for children under 16. The communications minister said that children face real threats from exposure to pornography, cyberbullying, online fraud and addiction, and they will start deactivating accounts from the end of March. It means under 16s will no longer be able to have accounts on what Indonesia are calling high-risk platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, X and YouTube. The communications minister said that the government is stepping in so that parents no longer have to fight against the giants of the algorithm.
Police in the New Glasgow area are warning the public about a high-risk sex offender living in that community. He is 43-year-old Matthew William Rosens, and he's been released under supervision. Rosens was serving time for a number of convictions in Barrie, Ontario, including assault, sexual assault, indecent act, trespassing at night, and criminal harassment. He's also been convicted of different offenses in Nova Scotia, and he's facing fresh charges in both that province and New Brunswick. Rosens is prohibited from being anywhere near anyone under the age of 16, including parks, playgrounds, and daycare centers, and he's prohibited from owning guns or ammunition. Police say they'll watch him closely to make sure he complies with the conditions.
At 5 people in one local community are upset because a registered sex offender is now living there.
This has a lot of people in Millvale very concerned, so much so we're told there were warning signs that were put up along a busy part of town. Channel 11's Amy Hudak is live there after talking with police about what neighbors need to know.
Susan and Lisa, these are actually the flyers that have been going up around this section of Millvale. Some of them are on people's front doors, on signposts, and even on this business, the Family Dollar. And neighbors are most concerned because a registered sex offender who is considered a violent predator moved into town, but he doesn't have to tell them exactly where he's living, and that has neighbors feeling concerned.
He was convicted of, I believe it was over 50 counts of rape, indeviate sexual intercourse, and incest.
This is Christopher Macedo. He served time in prison for multiple violent sex crimes against 5 children, ages 4 to 11, and he's now decided to call Millvale home.
That's really scary, and that he might be around here is just awful.
Millvale police say it's mandatory to give notice to families and businesses within a 250-foot radius of where a violent predator is living. So they put up these posters.
But I was like, oh, I saw Megan's Law. I was like, oh.
But there's a catch. Nobody knows exactly where he's living.
Unfortunately, he's allowed to register as transient and homeless. So he gave the address of 141 Lincoln, which is the Family Dollar.
But he's not living at the Family Dollar. A sex offender listing themselves as homeless is a way to skirt the system and not disclose an exact whereabouts. The chief says he's done this everywhere he's lived.
I don't understand it. I certainly don't agree with it, but unfortunately, that's the way it is.
Millvale police say they have to notify all schools, daycares, and the Boys and Girls Club. And while the chief understands the frustration and outrage from some neighbors, he wants to share this message with the community.
He's a free man. He's served his debt. He's done what he's supposed to do. Nobody should do anything on their own or act out against him. That would be illegal.
The chief does say if anybody notices anything out of the ordinary with this gentleman to call 911 and police will handle it, and not to try to take matters into your own hands. Reporting live from Millvale, Amy Hudak, Channel 11 News.
New developments tonight. A three-quarter-way house for sex offenders in Pittsburgh's Southside Slopes neighborhood is shutting down. According to City Councilperson Bob Charland, those responsible for operating the house are moving out as soon as possible and will not attempt to operate here further. Neighbors voiced their concerns after learning at least 10 sex offenders were living at that house.
Sonny, pop your hands behind your back for me. Pop that down. Pop it down.
Why? For what?
All right, just listen.
For what?
All right, I need you to pop it all down.
Why?
Okay?
What?
Because we're going to be arresting you. All right?
For what?
I'll explain it. I just want to put you in handcuffs first.
For what?
We've met before, Sonny.
Yeah, for why?
All right.
Why? What?
Pop your hands behind your back.
Why are you arresting me?
Just listen.
Why are you arresting me? Why are you arresting me?
Right, you're under arrest for suspicion of sexual assault. Okay.
What the f?
Yeah, you don't have to say anything, but it may harm a defence. If you do not mention when questioned, so put you later on in court. And if you do so, maybe given evidence. All right.
All right, mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to stay with us.
Yeah,
right?
that's fine.
Okay.
New at 4 as well, a Seminole County man is behind bars after investigators say they uncovered a massive collection of child pornography.
It was found during an online undercover operation. Channel 9's Carl Willis is live for us right now at the Seminole County Jail. Carl, I read the police report, simply disturbing. Deputies say he actually tried to destroy evidence when they came in to investigate.
That's right, Martha. They say that he broke his laptop into pieces and tossed it in the trash, but still investigators say they were able to recover more than 52,000 files. Arrested Thursday and standing before a judge Friday, Taylor Statt stands accused of possession of child pornography and tampering with evidence.
No contact, directly or indirectly, with any people under the age of 18 years.
The 42-year-old was taken from his home in this Heathrow community in Lake Mary Thursday. Seminole County investigators say an undercover operation by the Crimes Against Children unit led them here. The investigation into Statt started back in September using specialized investigative software. Detectives say they traced downloads of multiple illegal files to a single IP address that they say is tied to the suspect.
He's forbidden from accessing the internet.
After getting a search warrant and going to his home, deputies say they discovered a laptop that had been broken into multiple pieces, with part of it thrown in the trash and the rest found in his daughter's bedroom. Digital forensic investigators found that the laptop had been connected to the home's network just minutes before deputies arrived, leading them to believe that he destroyed it to hide evidence. Still, investigators were able to uncover more than 52,000 image and video files. They say all were child exploitative in nature. They say hundreds of files were reviewed and at least 50 contained child sexual abuse material. Now, today he was given a $250,000 bond here. We checked, and this is not the first time that he's been in trouble with the law. The federal case that landed him in prison in 2024. We'll talk about that coming up at 6.
I'm very truly sorry for my involvement in this heinous crime. I know my actions were very immoral.
A Washington County woman has been sentenced to prison following a child abuse investigation that began nearly 3 years after the crime occurred. 31-year-old Alexandria Wright appeared before District Judge Keith C. Barnes on Thursday. She was sentenced after pleading guilty in April to 4 felony charges, including aggravated sexual abuse of a child and producing a video of the abuse.
You know, these horrible cases come before the court. And somehow you find a glitter of light at the end. Somehow there's a layer that you're able to pull something positive. But not in this case. There's just layer and layer of pain.
The abuse took place in October 2021, but the videos didn't surface until nearly 3 years later, when her co-conspirator, 26-year-old Martin Brandon Gillen, was arrested in Kansas on an unrelated kidnapping charge. During that arrest, investigators located videos on Gillen's phone that showed a child being abused in Washington County. Wright was located and arrested 2 months later.
I'm not the monster that the news and everybody is making me out to be, though. I would have never committed anything like this willingly.
To the charge of sodomy on a child, a first-degree felony. The court hereby sentences you to serve 25 years to life at the Utah State Prison. On the count of aggravated sexual abuse of a child, first-degree felony, the court sentences you to serve 15 years to life at the Utah State Prison. The charge of dealing in materials harmful to a minor, a third-degree felony, the court sentences you to serve 0 to 5 years at the Utah State Prison. On the charge of aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, a first-degree felony, the court sentences you to serve 15 years to life at the Utah State Prison. These charges to run concurrent with count 1, 25 years to life.
Wright also faces charges in federal court related to the same case. She is scheduled to appear in St. George next week for a hearing on possession and production of child pornography. Gillen was indicted in federal court and later sentenced to life in prison plus 95 years for multiple charges, including sexual exploitation of a child and kidnapping. For now, Wright remains in state custody. Read the full story by Cody Blowers on stgeorgenews.com. This is St. George News, your number one source for local news.
The face of an admitted killer. Police say 18-year-old Alexandra Torres confessed to shooting a man at least 10 times. But investigators say she told them that she did it because the man had inappropriately touched a 5-year-old little girl. Fox 13's Troyce Grant joins us live in Memphis tonight. Troyce, you had a chance to read through the police affidavit about exactly what happened.
Yes, Darcy, the investigation started more than a week ago when an officer found the body of Noe Santillan Rincon off of Willowview Avenue. That's right off of Getwell Road and North I-240. Now, police say the 58-year-old had been staying with Alexandra Torres' mother. They say he went to the store around 1 a.m. February 26. Torres told police she ran into him and confronted him about the 5-year-old's allegations he had touched her. Police say she admitted that's when she shot him about 10 times with 2 guns. Police say a preliminary examination of the body found about 14 shots. Now, I went back to the area where Rincon's body was found and spoke to neighbors. Many of them told us they don't fault Torres for what she did if Rincon actually did touch a child.
She ran out of bullets.
Why do you say that?
I would have shot him a couple more times.
Now, Torres is currently in jail and has been charged with first-degree murder. Now, coming up at Fox 13 News at 10, I'll be back with more details about what Torres did after she shot Rincon. Darcy?
That is Fox 13's Troyce Grant reporting live tonight. Thank you, Troyce.
Lawrence Basil Maheu II of West Fargo is facing 3 felony counts in connection to allegedly possessing child porn. According to court documents, on March 3rd, officers executed a search warrant at his West Fargo home and found photos and or videos of children engaged in sexual acts with adults. He's now charged with 3 felony counts of possession of certain materials prohibited. Each charge is a Class B felony that carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNews.tv.
A Rockford teen's facing charges after police say he produced child pornography involving infants. 19-year-old Jasper Elbin Chavez was arrested Thursday morning. Police raided his home on Linda Avenue. Authorities say they found videos showing children being sexually assaulted. Court records show Elbin Chavez admitted to using the videos when he feels sad and sent them to others for attention. The teen is charged with predatory criminal sexual assault of a victim under 13 and distribution of child pornography. Elbin Chavez is in the Winnebago County Jail.
In other news tonight, we're going to go to St. Clair County, and that is where a woman has been charged with torture. And this isn't a child abuse case.
This is a really hard one to hear. We're told the abuse went on for years inside a home here in Emmett Township. J. Scott Smith traveled up north to Port Huron today as troubling new details are emerging in this case.
We're outside of the 72nd District Courthouse in Port Huron today, keeping an eye on a case out of St. Clair County that honestly is very disturbing. It involves a woman who, as these court documents will lay out, is accused of abusing 2 kids for years, including keeping them inside of dog cages.
39-year-old Sarah Hager is accused of abusing 2 of her former foster children. The accusations laid out in this affidavit filed on February 13th. In it, the children, a boy and girl who have not been named or identified because they are still minors, say they lived with Hager in Emmett Township from 2017 to 2021 and experienced unspeakable horror. They told authorities that Hager routinely abused them, including being locked inside of a dog cage. The boy told authorities he once wet the bed and Hager beat him and rubbed his face in it.
As you can see, she has 1 count of torture, 2 counts of first-degree child abuse, 2 counts of second-degree child abuse.
Michigan law describes torture as a crime with the intent to cause cruel or extreme physical or mental pain and suffering, or inflict great bodily harm or severe mental pain. Hager was taken into custody on February 27th, and her arraignment was held on Tuesday here in Port Huron. We tried to reach out to her court-appointed attorney, but to no avail, and the prosecutor's office only acknowledged that she had been charged. Hager remains in jail on a $150,000 cash bond.
Where we are right now is in Port Huron at her last known address. We went to the door where she was last listed, but the new family there says they don't know who she is. Now, as for the case itself, she's still got another hearing coming up on the 10th and then has a preliminary hearing happening on March 17th on those heinous charges of 2 child abuse, both first and second degree, as well as the torture charge. We're in Port Huron. I'm J. Scott Smith for Local 4.
I'm David Cedrone for WHKY News.
More details have been released in connection to the arrest of a wanted suspect in Burke County. 38-year-old Matthew Allen Ayotte of Conley Road in Morganton was arrested Saturday by Burke County Sheriff's officers. He's charged with failure to report an address change as a sex offender, simple possession of Schedule 6 controlled substance, and felony possession of methamphetamine. On Saturday, deputies responded to an investigation call at Loman's Motel in Hildebrand regarding an individual possibly wanted on felony warrants. Upon arrival, deputies identified Ayotte at the scene. During a search, Ayotte was found to be in possession of suspected meth. Deputies also confirmed he had an outstanding warrant for felony failure to report a new address as a sex offender. Ayotte is a sex offender as a result of a conviction in Burke County in 2012 for indecent liberties with a minor. He was placed in the Burke County Jail under $243,000 total bond.
Broken clock on the back wall, counting down till the last bell rings. You lock the door with the plastic smile, say this is just our little secret thing. Ink stains on my test paper, your hand leaning where it shouldn't be. You twist the rules like a gold ring, say it's love, say it's meant to be. Leave the kids alone, you're not a savior, you're a thief on hold. Predator in school clothes, life in a cage is the place you go. See kids